The recent impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his rapid replacement with Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has sent shockwaves through the Kenyan political landscape, raising serious concerns about the government's priorities. The swift execution of the impeachment process, from the filing of the special motion by Kibwezi West MP Mwengi Mutas, its hasty debate in Parliament, and the Senate's expedited hearing, has drawn attention to how efficiently the government can act when its own interests are at stake. The seamless speed at which the entire process was handled, culminating in Gachagua's removal and Kindiki's installation, leaves many Kenyans with a burning question: if the government can move this quickly to protect its power structure, why does it so often lag behind when it comes to serving the public? This glaring disparity between political maneuvering and service delivery has not gone unnoticed. The Kenyan public has long been subjected to lethargic government operations, where projects meant to benefit ordinary citizens are riddled with delays, bureaucratic inertia, and gross incompetence. Whether it's the sluggish pace of court cases, many of which have dragged on for years, or the failure to deliver on promises of infrastructure, healthcare, and other essential services, the contrast could not be starker. The impeachment episode has made it painfully clear that, when motivated by self-interest, the state machinery is more than capable of functioning with ruthless efficiency. Unfortunately, this stands in stark contrast to its approach to matters that directly impact the lives of its citizens. The speed at which the National Assembly moved to approve Kindiki's nomination as Deputy President has only amplified this perception of double standards. In an act that bordered on mockery, the Assembly completed the task in what seemed like record time, mere hours after receiving the nomination. Nation Media Group journalist James Smart succinctly captured this sentiment, noting on social media, the National Assembly has 60 days to process the next Deputy President nominee, but they plan to do it in 60 minutes. This remark, while biting, encapsulates the growing frustration many Kenyans feel when they see such rapid response on political matters juxtaposed against the excruciating delays in delivering basic services. Corruption, mismanagement, and incompetence have become pervasive within the very institutions meant to uphold justice and governance. Investigative bodies and agencies have been heavily criticized for being selective in their work, operating more as tools of political witch hunts rather than upholding the law. Many are convinced these bodies act not out of duty but in service of the political elite, perpetuating a culture of impunity. The so-called war on corruption has thus devolved into nothing more than political posturing, with little tangible impact on the ground. The public's outcry over the Finance Bill 2024 and the subsequent Gen Z-led protests has only intensified scrutiny of the government's priorities. These protests, sparked by economic hardship and exasperation over a political class out of touch with reality, have morphed into a nationwide reckoning. Young people, disillusioned with empty promises, have taken to the streets to demand real, substantive change. The protests also reflect a new generation's deepened understanding of the Constitution and a growing hunger for civic engagement. For too long, the political class has counted on the public's apathy, but that time seems to be coming to an end. Kenyans have not forgotten the myriad of promises made by politicians during election campaigns, most of which remain unfulfilled. Whether it's the construction of roads, the improvement of healthcare, or the fight against poverty and unemployment, citizens have grown tired of waiting for change that never comes. The impeachment saga has only deepened the public's cynicism about the government's ability or willingness to prioritize the well-being of its people. If anything, it highlights how quickly the state can act when its own interests are at risk, while the needs of ordinary citizens languish in the background, neglected and ignored. As Kenyans continue to engage in spirited debates on social media, one question lingers: will the government display the same level of urgency in addressing the country's most pressing challenges? Or will the efficiency displayed in Gachagua's impeachment prove to be yet another example of how political expediency trumps public service? Only time will tell, but for now, the government's track record leaves little room for optimism. It is high time the leadership in Kenya wakes up to the frustrations of the people. Kenyans deserve better governance, better service delivery, and a leadership that does not prioritize its own interests over the welfare of the nation. The political class must be held accountable for its double standards, then Kenyans must continue to demand the same ruthless efficiency in service delivery that was shown in the political arena. Only then can true progress be made, and the trust between the governed and those who govern be restored. Those are my submissions for today. Thanks for viewing. I am Brovin Omondi.